I wanted to call this video chatting with Miss Elohim. Okay. And so I was kind of looking at all the videos that I made and was trying to figure out why some videos they get a very high ranking. A lot of people visited and you know but the other videos, they're very scholarly and they have a lot of content, but hardly anybody even goes there. For example, I made a video, experience as currency, and it was about cryptocurrencies and how gaming industries are getting into it, and the virtual reality, all that, and it didn't even get one hit. But then I made a video about limitless pill and psychic predictions. I got tons of people going there. I was trying to kind of figure out, a pattern where why some videos, and I kind of see a reason, like people go and watch videos when they have questions or problems that there's hardly anybody that they can go to get these answers. It's like really foggy to them. For example, my video on psychic predictions for 2018, I got a lot of hits. I've never gotten that many in any video I made. So it shows that people want to know if they have a problem, or they have philosophical or questions about meaning of life or self-improvement, that the stuff is so exotic and it goes into areas in philosophy and religion, that many philosophers or writers, they shy away from that. I'll tell you what is the problem with these areas. It's because when you study occult or psychic phenomena, or say remote viewing, or psychic predictions or mediumship, the experiences and the ideas, they become so bizarre, so out of this world, and then many writers or psychics, or they have had problems in the past, that either they get crucified or prosecuted, or they get shunned by society, or the other problem is they're called crazy, and they're lunatic. So it kind of destroys credibility. If somebody is a scholar in another field, say for example, I know a lot of quantum physics, okay, and it's just scholarly pursued in math and physics, but then when I go into an area that's a bit out of the ordinary venue, then I don't want to lose complete credibility. Well, I don't have much credibility anyhow. I do get kicked out of many places, and so I kind of don't care, and I'm also on disability and retirement. So I would like to go into some areas that many philosophers, they don't talk about at all, and but you just need to take these stuff with a grain of salt. And also, I do not want to be accused of lunacy, or my ideas mocked, or I get personally pursued Anyhow, some ideas can be some stuff that's very exotic can be understood in like a mathematical form of it, because mathematics it becomes so abstract, it loses a lot of its outer shell, and you can talk about relationships between things without the stigma that's attached to it. Okay, so when I was younger, I was in high school. I bought some books on set theory, and this field was interesting. Studying the sets, how to define the membership of the sets, different kinds of sets, null set, the union of the sets, the multiplication or cross of sets, and then all kinds of manipulation of these sets. They become like a framework that you could use to study other branch of mathematics or make a relationship, so you can understand the stuff. It's very difficult. For example, in linear algebra, it's difficult to understand some concepts, but if you use set theory, if for example you define many dimensions in a set, each member can have 20 dimensions, then you can use this to or transport it into vector spaces and study those a lot easier. Okay, but this is a concept or idea that many scientists and philosophers they dabble in because it's extremely useful. Another way of that sociologists they use it, they take one unit of a given tribe or society and totally study this one unit, one person. Okay, or for example, if you look at the Britannica, you see that they go into different regions of the world, different tribes, and they pick out certain individuals that have a distinct facial bone structure, and many say there is 4 or 5 in a given tribe, and the other members of the tribe they are like a combination of these bone structures or facial construct. Okay, so studying one unit of something, okay, is very valuable, because then you can extend that unit into a universe of that same stuff, or studying a member of a set is valuable because then you can define the general properties of the entire set. Well, another way that the physicists they use these ideas is, for example, a lot of physicists they used to study just the hydrogen atom, nothing else. Okay, and the relationship that the hydrogen atom could have with itself or with the space around it, or the relationship between an electron, the only electron, and the only proton, or how it acts as a molecule. Let's see, this is valuable because then you can extend these ideas and study all kinds of elements, because they're all kind of constructed out of the proton and electrons that are the most basic element of hydrogen is these particles. Okay, so this idea is also elemental to Sufism and divinity or spiritualism, is that you want to extract the most basic aspect of your spirit, which is just you, excluding all relationships, and all contacts and all constructs of the mind or culture, exclude all of that, and just looking at the processes that goes on inside a given person in meditation or solitude. This is the basis from which all the other concepts in Sufism are built out of. And then, for example, when I was young, I would go and look at a pond or some little puddle in the pond, side of the pond. By studying these small areas where there is life forms and different stuff, you can learn a lot about the greater biosphere, because the greater biosphere is only a collection of these ponds, or it's just an extension of the ideas. It's very valuable. Also, I think that when a person studies very regimented discipline, like when you study math and abstract topics, you're forced to look at relationships that are devoid of any material form. And when these relationships become part of your vocabulary, repertoire, when you're looking at biological systems, or you're looking at the society, or you're looking at spirituality, then these relationships, they show up, they are like a backbone of what goes on over there too. So I think that before there were any physical laws, there were mathematical relationships that exist, or the knowledge existed before the knowledge became manifested in particles and all this and that. So there is a physicist, his name is Tom Campbell, and he talks about this stuff too. He thinks that the universe is basically an information processing system, or basically it's a computer or a computational engine. And and this computational engine, the way things work out very well for it, or the reason for its being, is to bring its own information entropy into lowest state. So say there is chaos, then this system tries to bring the chaos into order. Well, I think Campbell is going the same route as the Sufis are going, and he's saying that the universe is love and cooperation and loving each other or caring. It reduces violence, reduces the mismanagement of any kind of system. It comes into its most stable form, and then that's fulfills what this system needs or wants. And the other concept or idea is that the human being is consciousness, or a unit of consciousness, and the universe is like the super consciousness. The Sufis, they say that the human being is like a drop of water, and the universe is like, or God is like the ocean. But this unit of water has all the qualities of the universe. It can know everything that the universe knows, because it is a drop of water. Just like the physicists, they study atom of hydrogen, and then from the atom they can deduce or figure out the more complex elements or whatever interaction that goes on in a grand scale, something like that. And the way the Sufis go about studying divinity is is almost identical to many prophets and saviors. For example, Prophet Muhammad used to go and meditate in a cave extended periods of time, months or two at a time. So, but there is another way of looking at this. I think most people totally hate this, but okay. So I have been to jail, and in the jails, the the very severe form of punishment is being thrown into the isolation tank, like being isolated from other prisoners. Is because then when a person is forced into isolation, all right. So in their head or in their makeup, there is this social entity, social person, which is like a construct of society and culture and interaction between each individual and society. Okay, but when you're thrown into the isolation tank, this this construct, this ghost in the machine, in the back of your head, it stays dormant. So it's a kind of like death, but it's not the death of the individual or his soul or her soul, but it's the death of that social aspect, or as the Sufi master said, the nisbat ha, the relationships. Okay, these relationships are very important to individuals, because that's what makes up most of their persona, what they are. But there have been studies with miners and the miners that forced into mine shafts or mines, or there was a problem, they couldn't get out for days or weeks. This is like forced isolation, similar to someone being jailed and being isolated too, or similar to what the Prophet Muhammad was doing to himself, going into a cave and isolating himself, or what Jesus was doing and going into solitude. Okay, this isolation forces the individual back into being left with the only thing that there exists besides all that's outside of you, and it's your own soul. Okay, so many people complain when they're in isolation that they hear voices, they see ghosts, that these are manifestations of the soul, is your own consciousness, and for the first time, or if somebody has an experience like me, like a psychic or medium, have experience, they know that these phenomena, these things that are happening, are not from society. It's not from the outside world. And also, I'm not going crazy. This is natural. This is part of your makeup. This is your own soul, either seeing ghosts, communing with other consciousnesses, or communing with the universal consciousness. This is normal. This is not. So I'm not going crazy. I've had many remote viewing, many psychic experiences, many mediumistic experiences. So that doesn't mean that I'm gone nuts. No. When I come out of that, then things resume. That social side of you comes in, and kicks in. You're like you go to the temple and you come out, you take your shoes with you and your coat, and then you resume this life in society as is. So, like, this is like an introduction to ideas that might, or experiences that might be considered very bizarre, okay? Because the consciousness is not restricted to a framework of doing things according to a story, like a social story. It can do what it wants. It is a greater freedom. And I wanna just in like a topical way, or try to give a hint, because some of my stuff doesn't really make sense, is go through some of the stuff that can happen. I could, my consciousness can travel in time. If you saw the series Lost, there was this character, and he was experiencing his own future. What will happen? It's like you're living that future, but it's not really. You're not really living it. Your consciousness, which is part of the universe, is looking into what this supercomputer is gonna do. Like you're going into a movie theater and you're watching a part of the movie, but you're getting flashes from what the movie is gonna show in the greater section, in the future section. Okay, this has happened many times. This is a very bizarre experience. Okay, then also. Communion with ghosts is very normal, or remote viewing is like looking at different part of the world, different space, and seeing the people and what's going on there. And the governments, some of them, they use this technique. It's pretty accurate. And then you can not only look at different space but also different time, just like seeing the future, or you can also remote view into the past, and that's also possible, because the movie, when you go into a movie theater, the whole movie exists. Okay, just because you are watching this segment of the movie doesn't mean that the other segments don't exist, or the part that you have seen it cannot be accessed. Some people can access the other parts of the movie even though they haven't seen it. Alright, so that's another kind of experience. Well, I know that I'm going to tell you about a part that many people have gotten killed over it, because society is deeply suspicious of this. But I know that when somebody grows spiritually, they become more like a universe. They have more love and compassion, not less. Okay, so if they can do things that are very out of the ordinary, that doesn't mean that they are personally going to use that to harm, or okay. It comes with growth, but when a part of you has grown, concurrent with that, other things have happened, like to bring out a kind of balance, so that these faculties, they won't be used in a destructive way. But I think the consciousness is what is in charge in the universe, is in charge in society. Okay, the one is more in tune with it then you're more influential, more can change things around. I guess the Sufi master, and well, if you read New Testament, they had the gift of healing, and they could heal people who were very sick. And also there is a passage in New Testament where Jesus changes water into wine. I don't want to go into this because the Hollywood has really abused these things, and because they're stupid gay directors, everything has got a very negative connotations to it. Is well, when a person that has these qualities, he's not like a Zionist influence peddler, you know. It's different. That's something else. But I guess this has become part of our culture. Anyhow, I don't want to go into this area because it evokes a lot of hostility. Um, there are manifestations of consciousness. Is also a lot of love, and this concept has entered into quantum physics. Mr. Tom Campbell talks about it, but I think his lectures are very corny, like sound like a Sunday school, elementary Sunday school. But hey, if the science has brought us here, I don't know what I have to call this video. I don't know. I think it's gonna have the same fate as a lot of videos that people seldom watch. Alright, my stuff is kind of research. You need to have a really good education to be able to understand such stuff. Please subscribe. Thank you very much.